Commander Jake Morrison stared at the stars through the main window of the UES Retribution. The ship moved quietly through space near Jupiter's orbit. Jake had been in command for 3 years, and this patrol felt like any other. His crew was good, and the ship was running perfectly. Lieutenant Amy Brooks sat at her station watching the sensors. She was young but very smart. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls as she checked for anything unusual in the area. "Sir, I'm getting a strange reading," Amy said, looking worried. "Something big is out there." Jake walked over to her station. "How big?" "Much bigger than our ship. Maybe 3 times bigger." Amy's voice was quiet. "It just appeared from nowhere." The main screen lit up, showing a massive alien ship. It was dark gray with strange symbols on its side. The ship was huge, like a floating city in space. On the alien ship, Admiral Kexthera looked at his own screens. He was tall with blue skin and 4 arms. His species, the Zephyrians, had been watching Earth for many years. They thought humans were just learning to fly in space. Finally, Kexthera said to his crew, "These primitive creatures have reached basic space travel. We can offer them our protection now." The Zephyrians had done this many times before. They found young species and made them join their empire. In return, the new species gave them resources and followed their rules. It was simple and profitable. "Open communication with the human vessel," Kexthera ordered. On the Retribution, Jake's communication officer spoke up. "Sir, they're sending us a message." "Put it on screen," Jake said. Kexthera's face appeared on the main screen. He looked confident and a little bored. "Greetings, primitive humans. I am Admiral Kexthera of the Zephyrian Empire. We have been watching your species develop." Jake stayed calm, but his heart was beating fast. "This is Commander Jake Morrison of the United Earth Ship Retribution." "What do you want?" Kexthera smiled, showing sharp teeth. "We offer your species a great honor. You may join our empire as a protected world. In return, you will give us some of your planet's resources and agree to our technology limits." Captain Lisa Martinez, Earth's top diplomat, was also on the bridge. She stepped forward. "Technology limits? What does that mean?" "You will not develop weapons or ships beyond what we allow," Kexthera explained. "This keeps peace in the galaxy. Many species have accepted this deal and live happily under our protection." Lisa looked at Jake, then back at the screen. "We need time to discuss this with our leaders on Earth." Kexthera looked surprised. Most primitive species agreed right away when they saw how powerful the Zephyrians were.
"How much time?"
72 hours, Lisa said. "Very well. But do not take too long. Our patience has limits." The screen went dark. Jake turned to his crew. "Amy, scan their ship. Find out everything you can." Amy worked at her station for several minutes. "Sir, their weapons are powerful, but I'm seeing something strange. Our sensors are showing interference patterns." Dr. Nathan Clark, the ship's scientist, looked up from his station. "That's the quantum field generators working. They can't get a proper reading on our real technology." Jake smiled a little. The Zephyrians thought they were looking at a primitive human ship. They had no idea what the Retribution really was. For 50 years, Earth had been playing a careful game. They let aliens see old rocket ships and simple space stations. Meanwhile, human scientists worked in secret, building advanced technology that no one expected. The Retribution looked like a basic military ship from the outside. Inside, it had quantum shields, dimensional fold drives, and weapons that could tear holes in space itself. Every human ship was the same, looking simple but hiding incredible power. Chief Engineer Sophie Taylor walked onto the bridge. "Commander, all systems are ready. The quantum cores are at full power." "Good," Jake said. "Send a coded message to Earth Command. Tell them we have made contact." On Earth, President Bill Carter sat in a secure room deep underground. General Alex Murphy stood next to him, along with other military leaders. They had been preparing for this day for decades. "Sir, we have confirmation," General Murphy said. "The aliens have made contact with the Retribution. They're offering the standard protection deal." President Carter nodded. "Are our fleets ready?" "All ships are in position and hidden. Mars Base, Moon Base, and the Outer System fleets are waiting for orders." Dr. Emma Foster, Earth's top scientist, spoke up. "The quantum stealth is working perfectly. Their sensors can't detect our hidden ships." Back on the Retribution, Jake watched the alien ship through the window. It just sat there waiting. The aliens thought they had all the power. "Sir," Amy said quietly, "I'm detecting movement. Small ships are leaving their main vessel. Patrol ships, Jake said. They're making sure we don't try to run away. Lisa Martinez shook her head. They really think we're primitives. They don't know that we've been preparing for this moment since we first detected their signals 40 years ago. The Zephyrians had been careless. Their long-range communication signals had reached Earth in the 1980s. Human scientists had learned their language, studied their technology, and prepared for eventual contact. Commander, Nathan said, the quantum beacon is ready. We can signal all human fleets with a single transmission. Not yet, Jake replied. Let them think they're in control a little longer. On the alien ship, Kexathera studied reports about Earth. His scientists told him that humans had only recently left their planet. They used chemical rockets and built simple space stations. Their weapons were primitive and their ships were slow. A typical young species, Kexathera thought. They will submit quickly once they understand our power. He had conquered 12 other species in his career. It was always the same. The primitive species would resist at first, then realize they had no choice. Within a few days, they would agree to join the Empire. Sir, his tactical officer said, should we prepare a demonstration of our weapons? Sometimes it helps convince them faster. Kexathera considered this. Not yet. Give them their 72 hours. If they refuse, then we will show them why resistance is pointless. The alien admiral had no idea that he was about to make the biggest mistake in Zephyrian history. Earth was not a primitive world full of helpless creatures. It was a carefully disguised fortress, and humanity had spent 50 years preparing for war. In a few hours, the Zephyrians would learn that sometimes the species that looks weakest is actually the most dangerous of all. Admiral Kexathera walked around his command center feeling annoyed. 24 hours had passed since he gave the humans their deadline. Most primitive species contacted him within hours, begging to join the Empire. These humans were taking too long. Sir, his communication officer said, the humans have not responded to our offer. I can see that, Kexathera replied, his voice sharp. Perhaps they need help understanding our power. On the bridge of the Retribution, Commander Jake Morrison sat in his captain's chair, looking calm. His crew worked quietly at their stations. Everyone knew what was coming. Dr. Nathan Clark checked his instruments one more time. The quantum shield generators were ready. The experimental defense systems had never been tested in real combat, but the simulations looked good. Amy, what's the status of the alien fleet? Jake asked. Lieutenant Amy Brooks looked at her screens. They're moving into attack position, sir. I count 6 ships total now. Chief Engineer Sophie Taylor's voice came from the engine room. Commander, all quantum cores are at maximum power. The dimensional fold system is ready if we need it. Jake nodded. Good. Nathan, are the shields ready? Yes, sir. The quantum field is stable. We can absorb and store energy from their weapons. Captain Lisa Martinez stood near the communication station. Jake, I'm getting reports from Earth. All our hidden fleets are in position. On the alien flagship, Kexathera made his decision. Target their engines with a level 3 plasma burst. Disable their ship, but don't destroy it. They need to see our power. His weapons officer, a young Zephyrian named Veltana, looked surprised. Sir, a level 3 burst could destroy an entire city. Are you sure? These primitives need to understand what they're dealing with, Kexathera said. Fire when ready. The alien ship's main weapon charged up, glowing bright blue. Energy gathered at the front of the vessel, creating a ball of superheated plasma. On the Retribution, alarms started ringing. Incoming plasma burst, Amy announced. High energy reading. Impact in 30 seconds. All hands, prepare for quantum shield activation, Jake announced over the ship's communication system. Nathan's hands moved over his controls. Quantum field generators online. Energy storage banks ready. Sophie's voice came from engineering, all systems green. Ready for energy absorption. The plasma burst fired from the alien ship, a bright blue stream of energy that could melt through most known materials. It struck the Retribution directly, but instead of exploding, the human ship seemed to glow with a soft white light. The quantum shields absorbed the entire attack, converting the plasma energy into pure power that fed into the ship's systems. On the alien ship, Kexathera stared at his screens in confusion. What happened? Did we miss? No, sir, his weapons officer said, checking the readings. Direct hit, but their ship is undamaged. In fact, their power levels just increased. Jake smiled as he watched the energy readings on his screen. "Nathan, how much power did we absorb?" "Enough to run the ship for 3 days, sir. Their weapons are actually quite efficient." Jake activated the communication system. "Admiral Kexathera, this is Commander Morrison. Warning shot received and cataloged. Please stand by for our response." On the alien ship, confusion spread through the crew. Their sensors couldn't understand what they were seeing. The human ship should have been destroyed or at least badly damaged. "Sir," Veltana said quietly, "our sensors are showing strange readings. We can't get a clear picture of their ship's structure." Kexathera felt a small worry in his mind, but he pushed it away. It must be some kind of defensive screen. Primitive species sometimes develop basic shields. Prepare a level 5 attack with all forward weapons. Meanwhile, Captain Martinez sent a coded quantum signal throughout the solar system. The message was simple. Protocol 7 is now in effect. All fleet commanders prepare for total warfare authorization. On Mars, Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Mitchell received the signal in his underground command center. "All units, this is Mars base. Stand by for combat operations." Around Jupiter, Captain Danny Rodriguez sat on his hidden battleship, the UES Annihilator. His ship and 50 others had been waiting in dimensional fold space, invisible to alien sensors. Near Earth's moon, Admiral Helen Price commanded a massive fleet of dreadnoughts. They had been hidden behind the lunar surface for weeks, waiting for this moment. Dr. Emma Foster spoke from Earth's High Command Center. "All quantum stealth fields are holding. The aliens still can't see our real fleet." Back on the alien ship, Kexathera watched as his weapons charged for a much stronger attack. "This will end their resistance. No primitive species can survive a coordinated strike from 6 vessels." "Sir," his science officer said, "I'm detecting some unusual quantum interference. Our sensors keep getting strange readings from their ship." "Ignore it," Kexathera ordered. "Fire all weapons!" The 6 alien ships opened fire together. Plasma cannons, particle beams, and fusion torpedoes all struck the Retribution at the same time. The attack was powerful enough to destroy a small moon. Again, the human ship absorbed everything. This time, the white glow around the ship was brighter, and the Retribution's power levels increased dramatically. "Impossible," Kexathera whispered. Jake stood up from his chair. "Nathan, prepare a quantum torpedo. Single shot, low power." "Yes, sir. Quantum torpedo armed and ready." "Sophie, prepare the dimensional fold system. We're going to show them something interesting." The Retribution suddenly vanished from the alien sensors. One moment it was there, the next it was gone completely. "Where did they go?" Kexathera demanded. "I don't know, sir. They just disappeared." The human ship reappeared directly behind the alien flagship, less than a kilometer away. The Zephyrians had never seen technology that could move a ship through folded space. "Quantum torpedo away," Nathan announced. The torpedo didn't look like much, just a small silver object moving slowly toward the alien ship. But when it hit, it created something that made the Zephyrians' blood run cold. A controlled micro-singularity formed around their flagship. The tiny black hole consumed the entire vessel in seconds, leaving nothing behind. Admiral Kexathera's final transmission was cut off as his ship was pulled into the artificial gravity well. The remaining 5 alien ships sat in space, their crews stunned. They had just watched their most powerful vessel disappear completely. Jake opened communication with the surviving ships. "Attention, Zephyrian fleet. You came here expecting to find primitives. Instead, you found humans. We suggest you reconsider your approach." Sub-Admiral Veltana, now in command of the alien fleet, stared at the empty space where her admiral's ship had been. In all of Zephyrian history, no primitive species had ever displayed such advanced technology. "How is this possible?" she whispered. The answer was simple, but the aliens couldn't understand it yet. Humans had been lying about their capabilities for 50 years. While the Zephyrians watched primitive rockets launch from Earth, human scientists had been building weapons that could manipulate the fundamental forces of the universe. The real war was about to begin. Sub-Admiral Veltana stared at the empty space where Admiral Kexathera's ship had been. Her hands shook as she tried to understand what had happened. The humans had made their flagship disappear completely. "All ships, fall back to defensive positions," she ordered, her voice unsteady. On the Retribution, Commander Jake Morrison watched the alien ships retreat. "Amy, are they calling for help?" Lieutenant Amy Brooks checked her instruments. "Yes, sir. They're sending long-range communications toward their home system." Dr. Nathan Clark looked up from his station. Their quantum communication system is quite advanced. The message will reach their homeworld in about 6 hours. Jake nodded. That gives us time to prepare the full revelation. Captain Lisa Martinez activated her secure communication link to Earth. This is Martinez to Earth Command. Request permission to begin Protocol 7 full disclosure. President Bill Carter's voice came through clearly. Permission granted, Captain. Show them what humanity really is. Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Mitchell's voice suddenly filled the alien communication channels. His transmission came from Mars, but the aliens didn't know that yet. Attention, Zephyrian forces. You are now surrounded. Veltana looked at her sensors in confusion. Surrounded by what? We only see one human ship. Her sensor officer checked his instruments again. Ma'am, I'm not detecting anything else in the area. But as he spoke, something impossible began to happen. Ships started appearing from nowhere. First 1, then 10, then 50. They materialized around the solar system like ghosts becoming solid. Near Earth's moon, massive dreadnoughts dropped out of quantum stealth. Each one was larger than the alien flagship had been. Their hulls were dark and covered with weapon ports. Around Mars, battle cruisers phased into normal space. These ships looked different from the dreadnoughts, sleeker and faster, but clearly built for war. Near Jupiter and Saturn, destroyer squadrons emerged from dimensional fold space. They moved in perfect formation, their quantum engines glowing with contained energy. Admiral Helen Price's voice came from the lead dreadnought near Earth. Zephyrian Fleet, this is Admiral Price of the United Earth Defense Force. You are completely surrounded by superior firepower. Veltana's sensor officer was reading numbers that didn't make sense. Ma'am, I'm counting over 300 human vessels. Where did they come from? Dr. Emma Foster's transmission reached the alien ships from Earth's surface. Admiral Veltana, this is Dr. Foster of Earth High Command. We need to talk. The alien commander found her voice. How do you know my name? We've been listening to your communications for 40 years. Emma replied calmly. We know your language, your technology, and your military procedures. We know that you expected to find a primitive species playing with chemical rockets. On the alien bridge, the crew was starting to panic. Their sensors were finally getting clear readings on the human ships, and the numbers were terrifying. Ma'am, the weapons officer said quietly, their energy signatures are off our charts. Each of those dreadnoughts has more firepower than our entire battle fleet. Emma continued her transmission. You see, Admiral, you made a critical error. You assumed that what you could observe about humanity represented our actual capabilities. Captain Danny Rodriguez's ship, the UES Annihilator, moved closer to the alien fleet. It was only half the size of their remaining vessels. But the weapons covering its hull looked like nothing the Zephyrians had ever seen. Every rocket launch you observed, Emma explained. Every primitive space station, every chemical-fueled mission, those were carefully planned demonstrations. We wanted any watching aliens to underestimate us. Jake Morrison activated his ship's external displays. The hull of the Retribution changed, showing its true nature. Quantum field generators became visible. Dimensional fold engines revealed themselves. The weapon systems that had been hidden extended from concealed ports. While you were watching us play with rockets, Jake said, we were actually developing technology that your empire hasn't imagined yet. Veltana finally found her voice. Impossible. We've been monitoring your electromagnetic emissions. Your technology levels were clearly primitive. Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell laughed from his command center on Mars. Those emissions were faked. We've been using quantum communication for 30 years. We only used electromagnetic signals when we wanted you to hear them. The alien sub-admiral felt sick. How long have you known about us? Since 1983, Emma replied. One of your deep space communication relays developed a fault. We intercepted 47 years of your military communications before you fixed it. Dr. Nathan Clark added, we learned your language, studied your technology, and prepared for this day. Every human ship you see was built with the specific purpose of fighting the Zephyrian Empire. The truth was even worse than Veltana imagined. For decades, humanity had been running a massive intelligence operation. They had studied Zephyrian weaknesses, learned their military tactics, and designed weapons specifically to counter their technology. Your plasma weapons, Jake explained, are actually quite useful. Our quantum shields convert plasma energy into power for our systems. The more you shoot at us, the stronger we become. Admiral Price's dreadnought moved into position above the alien fleet. Your particle beams use a frequency that our dimensional armor can redirect back at your own ships. Captain Rodriguez smiled as he spoke. And your fusion torpedoes? Well, we improved that design. Our quantum torpedoes use controlled singularities. Much more efficient. Veltana looked around her bridge. Her crew was staring at the displays in shock. They were surrounded by a fleet that shouldn't exist, facing weapons that their empire had never encountered. "What do you want?" she asked quietly. President Carter's voice came through clearly. "What we want, Admiral, is for you to understand something very important. You came to our system expecting to find primitives. Instead, you discovered a species that has been preparing for war with your empire for half a century." Emma Foster continued. "Every human ship in this fleet was built with one purpose: to show your empire that Earth is not a primitive world to be conquered. We are a fortress that has been disguised as a garden." Jake looked at the alien ships on his screen. "You have two choices, Admiral Veltana. You can return to your empire and tell them what you've learned here, or you can try to fight us and discover why humanity earned the nickname, the species that weaponized physics itself." The alien admiral looked at her tactical displays. 300 human ships surrounded her 5 vessels. Each human ship was more advanced than anything in the Zephyrian fleet. But the most terrifying thing wasn't the numbers or the technology. It was the realization that humanity had been planning this moment for decades. They had studied the Zephyrian Empire, learned its weaknesses, and prepared countermeasures for every weapon and tactic. "We surrender," Veltana said quietly. "Surrender?" Jake replied. "Admiral, we're not interested in your surrender. We're interested in your education. Go back to your empire, tell them what you've seen here, and warn them that if they want to deal with humanity, they need to come as equals, not as conquerors." As the alien ships prepared to leave, Emma Foster sent one final message. "Oh, and Admiral, tell your leaders that the primitive humans will be visiting their space very soon. We think it's time for a proper diplomatic discussion." Sub-Admiral Veltana's remaining ships limped back towards Zephyrian space. Her crew was silent and scared. When they reached the outer edge of the solar system, she sent an emergency message to the High Command. "This is Sub-Admiral Veltana. Admiral Kexthara is dead. The humans destroyed our flagship with unknown technology. Request immediate military support." The response came 12 hours later. Supreme Admiral Thexkalar's face appeared on her screen. He was old and scarred from many battles. His expression showed anger and disbelief. "Veltana, explain how primitive humans destroyed our most advanced warship." "Sir, they're not primitive. They have quantum weapons, dimensional technology, and ships we can't even detect until they want us to see them." Thexkalar's eyes narrowed. "Impossible. Our scouts have monitored them for decades. They use chemical rockets and basic metals." "That was all fake, sir. They've been hiding their real technology from us." The Supreme Admiral paused, thinking. No species develops advanced technology without help. Someone is protecting these humans. Find out who. On Earth, General Alex Murphy stood in the war room with President Carter and the other military leaders. Satellite images showed a massive Zephyrian fleet assembling near their border systems. "How many ships?" President Carter asked. 230 vessels, sir," General Murphy replied, "including their newest dreadnoughts and planet-killer ships." Dr. Emma Foster looked at the tactical display. "They still don't believe we developed this technology ourselves. They think someone else is helping us." Colonel Sarah Bennett stepped forward. She was in charge of Earth's most secret project, the Adaptive AI Combat System. "Sir, this is our chance to test the full capabilities of our learning systems." President Carter nodded. "Approved. Show them what humanity can do when we stop holding back." The Zephyrian reinforcement fleet arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system 3 days later. Supreme Admiral Thexkalar commanded from his flagship, the Dominator, a vessel 5 kilometers long with enough firepower to destroy a planet. "Deploy all ships in standard conquest formation," he ordered. "I want those human vessels destroyed and their mystery allies revealed." Captain Danny Rodriguez watched the alien fleet from his position near Jupiter. His ship, the UES Annihilator, had been modified with the new adaptive systems. "Amy, are the learning computers online?" he asked his tactical officer. Lieutenant Amy Parker nodded. "Yes, sir. All AI systems are active and ready for combat analysis." Dr. Kevin Walsh, the ship's computer specialist, checked his screens. "The quantum processors are running at full capacity. We can analyze and adapt to their technology in real time." The alien fleet moved into attack position. 200 ships spread across space, their weapons charging for a coordinated strike. "All human vessels, this is Admiral Price," came the transmission from the lead dreadnought. "Begin total warfare protocol. No mercy, no hesitation." The battle began with the aliens firing everything they had. Plasma cannons, particle beams, fusion torpedoes, and gravity bombs filled space with deadly energy. But something strange happened. The human ships didn't just absorb the attacks, they started copying them. On the Annihilator, Dr. Walsh watched his screens in amazement. "Sir, the AI has completely analyzed their plasma cannon technology. It's already designing improvements. How long until we can replicate it?" Rodriguez asked. "It's done, sir. We can fire their own weapons back at them, but 20% more powerful." This was happening on every human ship. The adaptive AI systems were not just studying the alien technology, they were improving it and building new weapons in real time. Commander Jake Morrison's voice came over the fleet communication system. "All ships prepare to demonstrate human technological superiority." The human fleet opened fire, but instead of using their quantum weapons, they used improved versions of the aliens' own technology, plasma cannons that burned hotter, particle beams that cut deeper, and fusion torpedoes that exploded with more force. Supreme Admiral Thex Kaler watched in horror as his own weapons were turned against him. "How are they doing this?" His science officer was frantically checking readings. "Sir, they're using our technology against us, but it's been improved somehow. Switch to graviton disruptors. They can't have seen those before. The aliens fired their most advanced weapons, devices that could tear apart matter at the atomic level. The graviton beam struck 3 human destroyers. On the human ships, the AI systems immediately began analyzing the new attack. Within minutes, they understood how the weapons worked. Captain Lisa Roberts spoke from her command ship. "All vessels' graviton disruptor technology has been analyzed and improved. Return fire with enhanced graviton weapons." The human ships fired back with graviton beams that were 50% more effective than the original alien versions. Entire Zephyrian vessels were torn apart by their own technology, made better by human engineering. "This is impossible," Texcalar shouted. "No species learns this fast." But humanity's greatest weapon wasn't the technology itself. It was their ability to learn and adapt. Every human ship carried quantum computers that could analyze any technology in minutes and improve it immediately. Dr. Emma Foster's voice reached the alien fleet from Earth. "Supreme Admiral, you're fighting a species that doesn't just use weapons, we perfect them. Every time you fire at us, we learn something new." The battle turned into a nightmare for the Zephyrians. No matter what weapon they used, the humans would copy it, improve it, and fire it back within minutes. Colonel Bennett's adaptive systems were working perfectly. "Sir, we've now analyzed and improved every weapon in their arsenal. Our database contains technological improvements they won't develop for another 1,000 years." The alien fleet began to break apart. Ships that had survived dozens of battles were being destroyed by their own weapons, perfected by human intelligence. Supreme Admiral Thexcalar made a desperate decision. "All ships retreat to minimum safe distance. Prepare the planet killer." The Dominator's main weapon began charging. It was designed to destroy entire worlds by creating artificial supernovas. On Earth, alarms rang in the command center. "Sir, they're charging a stellar destruction device," General Murphy reported. President Carter's voice was calm. "Colonel Bennett, does our AI understand that weapon?" Sarah Bennett smiled. "Sir, we analyzed it the moment they started charging. But our version will be much more efficient." Commander Morrison's ship moved directly in front of the alien flagship. The Retribution was tiny compared to the Dominator, but it carried humanity's most advanced weapons. "Supreme Admiral," Jake announced, "you're about to learn why humans are called the most dangerous species in the galaxy." The Retribution fired a single improved planet killer beam. But instead of destroying Earth's sun, it created a controlled stellar flare that knocked out every alien ship's power systems without harming the planets. The entire Zephyrian fleet floated helplessly in space, their weapons dead, their engines offline. Thexcalar sat in his powerless command chair, finally understanding the truth. Humanity didn't just fight wars. They studied their enemies, learned from them, and became better than them. "How?" he whispered. Dr. Walsh's voice came from the human fleet. Admiral, you've been fighting a species that has spent 50,000 years learning to survive by adapting to threats. We don't just defend ourselves. We become better than whatever tries to destroy us. The battle was over. Every alien ship was disabled, but none were destroyed. The humans had shown perfect restraint and perfect power. Now, President Carter announced, let's discuss the future of this galaxy. Supreme Admiral Thexkalar sat in his powerless command chair, surrounded by his disabled fleet. Every Zephyrian ship floated helplessly in space, their weapons and engines completely shut down by the human stellar flare. Commander Lisa Roberts spoke from her ship. Supreme Admiral, this is Commander Roberts of the United Earth Deep Space Command. We're sending repair crews to help restore your life support systems. Thexkalar was confused. You're helping us? After we attacked you? We're not monsters, Lisa replied. We just wanted to show you that attacking Earth was a mistake. Small human ships approached the alien vessels. Instead of boarding parties with weapons, they carried engineering teams with repair equipment. The humans began fixing the alien life support systems without being asked. Dr. Kevin Walsh worked alongside Zephyrian engineers on the Dominator. The aliens watched in amazement as he not only repaired their systems but improved them. Your power distribution system is quite good, Kevin said to the alien chief engineer. But if you route the energy through quantum conduits instead of plasma channels, you can increase efficiency by 30%. The Zephyrian engineer stared at him. You're teaching us how to improve our own technology? Kevin shrugged. Knowledge should be shared. That's how civilizations advance. On Earth, President Bill Carter prepared for the most important speech in human history. The entire galaxy would be watching through the alien communication networks. Citizens of the Zephyrian Empire, he began. My name is President Carter of the United Earth Republic. 3 days ago, your fleet came to our system expecting to find a primitive species. Instead, you discovered something different. The transmission reached every Zephyrian world simultaneously. Millions of aliens watched as this human leader addressed them directly. For decades, your empire has expanded by conquering weaker species. You offer protection in exchange for submission. This system has worked because you always held the technological advantage. Admiral Helen Price stood beside Carter. Behind them, displays showed the disabled Zephyrian fleet surrounded by human ships. That advantage no longer exists, Carter continued. Humanity has developed technology that surpasses your empire's capabilities. But we're not interested in conquest. Supreme Admiral Thexkalar listened from his repaired bridge. His communication systems were working again, thanks to human engineers. What do you want from us? He asked. Dr. Emma Foster answered from Earth's command center. We want to establish a new kind of relationship between our species. Not conqueror and conquered, but equals working together. On the Zephyrian homeworld, High Counselor Zexamora convened an emergency session. The ruling council had watched the battle in disbelief. Their most powerful fleet had been defeated without a single human casualty. How do we respond to this? Counselor Velkara asked. They could destroy our entire empire if they wanted to. But they're not, Zexamora replied. They're offering partnership instead. Carter's transmission continued. We propose the formation of a new galactic council. Every species would have equal representation, regardless of their technology level or military power. Colonel Sarah Bennett added, decisions would be made based on merit and wisdom, not force. Scientific knowledge would be shared freely among all member species. The offer was unlike anything in Zephyrian history. They had always ruled through strength and fear. The concept of voluntary cooperation between equals was foreign to them. Commander Jake Morrison's voice joined the conversation. Supreme Admiral, your species has ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years. But ruling through fear only works until someone stronger comes along. And you're stronger, Thexkalar said quietly. Yes, Jake replied, but we don't want to rule. We want to explore, learn, and grow alongside other species. Dr. Walsh had finished his repairs on the Dominator. As he prepared to leave, the Zephyrian chief engineer stopped him. Why are you helping us? The alien asked. We came here to conquer your world, Kevin smiled. Because that's what humans do. We adapt, we learn, and we help others do the same. It's how we survived and grew strong. President Carter made his final offer. The choice is yours, High Counselor Zexamora. You can try to continue ruling through force, knowing that humanity will oppose any attempts at conquest. Or you can join us in building something better. The High Counselor considered the options. The Zephyrian Empire could fight, but they had already seen the result. The humans had superior technology and the ability to adapt to any weapon used against them. What guarantees do we have? Zexmora asked. Admiral Price answered. The same guarantee we're giving to every species in this galaxy. Mutual respect, shared knowledge, and protection for all members of the Council. Commander Roberts added, We're establishing our first permanent deep space command center in this system. It will serve as neutral territory where all species can meet safely. The Zephyrian leadership spent hours debating. Some counselors wanted to fight, but they knew it was hopeless. Others saw the wisdom in the human proposal. Finally, High Counselor Zexmora made the decision that would change galactic history. We accept your proposal, he announced. The Zephyrian Empire will join your Galactic Council as an equal member. Cheers erupted from human ships throughout the solar system. They had achieved something unprecedented, ending a war before it truly began and turning enemies into allies. Dr. Emma Foster's voice carried across space. Welcome to the Galactic Cooperation Council. Together we'll explore the universe as partners instead of conquerors. Over the following months, the new council established its headquarters on a space station, built jointly by human and Zephyrian engineers. Other species, freed from Zephyrian control, eagerly joined the alliance, Admiral. Helen Price became the first director of the Galactic Council Fleet. Her job was to protect member worlds and prevent any species from trying to build new empires. The Zephyrians, despite their initial resistance, became some of humanity's closest allies. Their experience governing a galactic empire proved valuable in organizing the new council. Supreme Admiral Thexkalar, now serving as Zephyrian ambassador to Earth, often reflected on how quickly everything had changed. We ruled through fear for 3,000 years, he told President Carter during a diplomatic dinner. But in 3 days you showed us a better way. Carter smiled. Fear only works until someone stronger comes along, but cooperation makes everyone stronger together. The galaxy's transformation was swift. Trade routes opened between species that had never communicated before. Scientific knowledge flowed freely, leading to advances that benefited everyone. Dr. Walsh established the first Interspecies Research Institute, where alien and human scientists worked together on projects that no single species could complete alone. Commander Morrison was promoted to admiral and given command of the exploration fleet. His mission was to find new species and invite them to join the council as equals. The most significant change was cultural. Species that had lived in fear of conquest began to flourish. Art, music, and literature flowed between worlds, creating a rich galactic civilization. But humanity's greatest achievement wasn't technological or military. It was showing the galaxy that strength could be used to protect rather than conquer, and that the most advanced civilizations were those that lifted others up instead of holding them down. The story spread throughout the galaxy, becoming legend. When young aliens learned about the day their galaxy changed, they heard about the species that expected to face a shuttle but instead encountered total annihilation, not of themselves, but of the old ways of thinking. Earth had indeed unleashed total annihilation, but what they destroyed was tyranny, fear, and the idea that might makes right. In its place, they built something that had never existed before, a galaxy where all species could reach for the stars together.